God says, today a letter with shocking news is about to arrive. You won't believe who sent it. Open it quickly. The words settle in your mind like a strange spark, urgent, unexpected, impossible to ignore. You look around your room, your hands idle on the table, and wonder, a letter? Who could it be from, and why now? It feels as though the entire universe has paused, holding its breath, waiting for you to act. You hesitate. There's a part of you that fears disappointment, the familiar sting of expectation and letdown. But there's also a voice, softer yet insistent, that whispers, asterisk, this is important. Do not ignore it, asterisk. You remember how many opportunities you have let slip by, how many messages you have overlooked because they seem too strange, too sudden, too inconvenient. And yet, something in this moment feels different. Something feels alive. You rise and pace. The sun falls through your window in golden beams, illuminating dust in the air, the quiet stillness of a room you've long neglected. You think about what the letter could contain. Inheritance? Surely not money or possessions, those things are transient. Perhaps it is a message, a symbol, a key to something hidden in your life that has been waiting for you to notice. The thought makes your heart beat faster. Inheritance. You realize the word is heavier than you first thought. Inheritances are gifts from the past, passed down not because of merit alone, but because someone or something saw potential in you. You consider your life, the choices you've made, the paths you've avoided, the dreams you've postponed. Perhaps this inheritance is about more than material wealth. Perhaps it is about recognition, wisdom, understanding, or something deeper that has always been yours, waiting for you to claim it. The letter arrives in the quiet afternoon, slipping beneath your door in a soft shuffle that sounds louder than it should. You bend down and pick it up. The envelope feels heavier than a normal letter, substantial in a way that is more felt in the chest than in the hand. The seal is simple, elegant, unmarked, and yet it radiates significance, a quiet insistence that this is no ordinary correspondence. You sit at your desk and stare at it. Something within you resists opening it. Fear? Curiosity? Both? Perhaps a tangle of hope and doubt. You take a deep breath, your fingers trembling slightly as they touch the paper. Open it, the voice inside whispers. You are ready. And so you do. The contents of the letter are simple, almost understated. Words scrawled across the page with a care that suggests intentionality, thoughtfulness, and a purpose that reaches beyond ordinary life. As you read, your eyes widen, your pulse quickens, and an unfamiliar warmth spreads through your chest. The letter is not what you expected. It is better, more profound, and more personal than anything you could have imagined. It begins by acknowledging you, your struggles, your quiet persistence, the unrecognized efforts you have made. Then it speaks of the inheritance, not gold, not jewels, not titles, but something far more precious. It is the inheritance of potential, the dormant capacities within you that have waited patiently for recognition. The letter tells you that your life, your choices, your creativity, your compassion, your courage, all of these are treasures that you have overlooked. And now, they are being illuminated for you to see, finally, for the first time. You blink. The words blur slightly as tears gather in your eyes. You had lived your life with so many doubts, so many shadows of fear that whispered, "You are not enough," and now the letter speaks in a voice that feels like a chorus of your better self, your higher self, your truest heart, *, you are enough. You are ready. You are worthy. Open the doors you have kept closed. Claim what has always been yours, *. A shiver runs down your spine. This inheritance is not something to be received passively, it demands recognition, acknowledgement, and action. It is a call, a summons to awaken to your own life. The letter instructs you to look at the rooms within yourself, to open the doors you have long avoided. In each, there is a gift, a lesson, a memory, a capability. Some are joyful, some are painful, all are yours. And to inherit them fully, you must face each one with courage, honesty, and love. You close the letter briefly, holding it against your chest. You feel the weight of responsibility and possibility mingling together. A part of you hesitates, fear of what you might discover in the hidden rooms of your life. Another part of you quivers with excitement, knowing that this is the moment when everything changes. The inheritance is not just a gift, it is a mirror, showing you who you were meant to be and who you can become. You begin to explore. The first room is familiar, the place where hope lives. It is dusty, neglected, filled with the remnants of dreams deferred, of ambitions set aside for fear or convenience. You sweep the dust away. You place the dreams back on the shelf. You breathe, and you feel hope expand. It is larger than before, nourished by the acknowledgement that it exists and that it deserves attention. The next room is harder, the room of mistakes, regrets, and failures. You have avoided it for years, leaving it locked behind walls of shame. But now, with the letter in hand, you step inside. The memories of failure rise, but instead of shrinking away, you face them. You see each one not as a chain, but as a teacher, a stepping stone that led you to this very moment. You recognize that the inheritance includes the wisdom that comes from mistakes, the resilience forged in hardship. You claim that gift, understanding that even suffering has value when it guides you toward your higher self. And then there is the final room, the room of possibilities, stretching far beyond what you had imagined for yourself. It is bright, vast, and empty, a canvas awaiting your life's brush. You see the potential that has always been inside you, now illuminated, now undeniable. The letter reminds you, the inheritance is not given to those who wait passively. It is claimed by those who act, who choose, who step into the fullness of their own life. You sit in that room for a long time, letter in hand, breathing slowly. You feel gratitude swelling, a sense of awe at the life that has been quietly waiting for your recognition. And you understand, the inheritance is not just personal, it is universal. It is the life that has been entrusted to you, your time, your attention, your love, your creativity, your courage. Every small choice, every moment of mindfulness, every act of kindness is part of claiming it. The room fills with light, the light of awareness, the light of possibility. You rise, holding the letter as a symbol, not as a relic, not as an end, but as a beginning. And in that moment, you realize, the true shock of the letter is not in its words, but in what it reveals about you. You are capable, worthy, alive, and ready. You step out of the room, and the journey begins. The inheritance has arrived, and now it is time to live it fully. The next morning, you wake with a strange clarity. The letter rests on your desk, its presence still heavy with meaning, yet lighter somehow, like a bridge to the life you have yet to live. You feel the pulse of possibility in your veins, the sense that something has shifted fundamentally. The world around you seems the same, but you know you are different. The inheritance isn't something that arrives and vanishes, it is the awakening of something inside you that has always existed, waiting for recognition. You walk through your home slowly, as if seeing it for the first time. Each corner, each familiar object, seems to hum with new significance. There is a quiet magic in noticing the small details you once overlooked, the sunlight catching a vase, the gentle creak of the floor, the rhythm of your own breath. It is as though the letter has opened your senses, tuned them to a frequency of life you had forgotten existed. You think back to the first room you entered, hope, and you smile. That room, once dusty and abandoned, now feels alive with promise. You realize that the inheritance begins with recognition, with seeing what has always been present but hidden beneath neglect, distraction, and doubt. You touch the letters, the photographs, the objects you left behind, and you feel gratitude flowing like water through your chest. Everything you see is a gift. Next, you return to the room of mistakes. At first, the shadows seem larger than before. Old fears rise, you were never enough. You failed too many times. You don't deserve this, but now you see them differently. Each shadow carries a lesson. Each failure has left a mark of resilience. You trace your fingers over the memories, not to erase them, but to honor them. And slowly, the heaviness lifts. The room feels lighter. The inheritance includes the wisdom you gained in struggle, the courage you earned in facing your own limitations. You begin to explore your potential with a new sense of daring. The last room, vast and empty, stretches infinitely before you. You realize that it is waiting for action. The inheritance is not a gift to hoard, it is a call to create, to engage, to live fully. You imagine all the possibilities, paths you have never dared to take, dreams you thought were lost, talents you never allowed yourself to explore. The letter has given you a key, and the door is wide open. You step forward, each step deliberate, feeling the echo of your own power. With each breath, you claim a piece of yourself that you once ignored. Confidence rises, not as arrogance, but as quiet assurance. The letter spoke of inheritance, but now you understand that inheritance is not about receiving from others, it is about receiving yourself. Recognizing your own value, your own potential, your own life, fully and without reservation. Days pass, but each is different from those before. You find joy in small things, preparing a meal, talking to a neighbor, writing a note of encouragement to a friend. Every action becomes a reflection of the inheritance you are claiming, the knowledge that your presence, your care, your attention, are meaningful. The world is no longer something to survive, but something to engage with fully. Sometimes doubts creep in. The voice that once spoke through the letter now comes softly in your mind. Do not forget. You are capable. You are worthy. You are ready. It is not demanding. It is patient, persistent, loving. You listen and respond, not with fear, but with trust. And with each day, the inheritance expands. It is no longer confined to the quiet rooms of your inner home, it begins to shape your actions, your decisions, your relationships. You begin to notice subtle shifts in your connections. People respond differently to you, not because you demand change, but because your presence has changed. You speak with patience, listen with attention, and act with thoughtfulness. You realize that the inheritance is not only personal, it radiates outward. The gift of your awakening touches others, even in ways you may never see. One afternoon, you return to the letter, reading its words again. You notice something new. The message is no longer shocking. It feels familiar, comforting, a companion rather than a summons. You smile, realizing that the inheritance was never just in the words of the letter, but in what it awakened in you. The journey has begun, and you are living it. At night, when the house is quiet and the world outside seems asleep, you reflect. The inheritance has changed how you view life itself. The past, with all its failures and regrets, no longer weighs you down. The future, with all its uncertainty, no longer frightens you. You live fully in the present, aware of each breath, each sensation, each moment of awareness. You understand that this is the true gift, the capacity to live consciously, to recognize the extraordinary within the ordinary. The following days become a rhythm of exploration and gratitude. Each morning, you take time to meditate on your life, to consider the rooms within you, to open doors you may still be hesitant to enter. Each evening, you reflect on the day, acknowledging moments where you claimed your inheritance through courage, kindness, and presence. You see that the inheritance is not static, it is dynamic, growing as you grow, expanding as you expand. And slowly, you begin to see a pattern. Life itself is a series of letters, of messages, of moments that arrive unexpectedly. Each moment carries a choice, to notice or ignore, to act or wait, to awaken or remain asleep. The inheritance taught you that the true wealth of life is awareness, the ability to see, to feel, to act with presence and intention. You step outside into the world, no longer anxious or hurried. The streets, the trees, the faces of strangers, all seem charged with meaning. Each person you meet is a reflection of the same inheritance, potential waiting to be realized, life waiting to be noticed, love waiting to be given. You smile at a passerby, and the connection, however brief, feels sacred. You understand that your awakening, your claim of the inheritance, is not only for yourself, but for everyone you touch. The letter, once shocking and urgent, now serves as a symbol, a reminder that life continually offers opportunities for awareness, for transformation, for claiming the gifts that exist within and around you. The inheritance was never about material wealth, it was about awakening to your own power, your own purpose, your own capacity to create and nurture life in yourself and others. You keep the letter carefully, not as an idol or relic, but as a reminder of the moment everything shifted, the moment you chose to open the doors, face the rooms within, and embrace the inheritance of your own life. And with each passing day, the realization deepens. The inheritance never truly arrives from outside, it has always been within, waiting for you to notice, waiting for you to act, waiting for you to claim it as your own. The days that follow are unlike anything you have experienced before. You wake each morning with a quiet excitement, a sense that life itself is unfolding in intricate patterns meant just for you. You carry the letter with you, though not constantly. Its presence is no longer urgent, but a steady reminder of the moment your perspective shifted. The inheritance is no longer abstract, it is alive, moving within you, guiding your choices, shaping your perceptions. You begin to notice how often you had overlooked your own gifts. Skills you dismissed, creativity you shelved, intuition you ignored, now all of it calls for attention. The letter's message resonates in every corner of your being. This is yours, waiting to be acknowledged, nurtured, and shared. It is not a possession to hoard, it is a responsibility to cultivate. And you start to understand that life itself becomes richer the more fully you step into the inheritance you have been given. At first, you start small. A long-neglected hobby, a conversation with someone you've avoided, a simple act of kindness to a stranger, these seem trivial, but each is a seed. Each action reminds you that claiming the inheritance is not about grandeur, but about presence. You find joy in the smallest gestures, in the quiet attention you bring to ordinary moments. Making a cup of tea, walking through the park, listening to a friend's story, these become sacred rituals, imbued with intention and awareness. Your relationships begin to shift. People notice a change in you, a calm assurance that wasn't there before. You listen more deeply, speak more thoughtfully, and act with compassion where you once acted hastily or defensively. The inheritance flows outward, touching those around you in ways you cannot always measure. And in those moments, you feel a profound sense of connection, not as an obligation, but as a natural consequence of being awake to life. You start to confront deeper fears, the ones you had tucked away in corners of your mind. The fear of failure, the fear of judgment, the fear of not being enough, these shadows rise, but now you face them with courage. You understand that the inheritance includes resilience, the ability to move through uncertainty and discomfort, the wisdom to recognize that fear is a teacher, not a jailer. Each time you confront these shadows, you grow stronger, more grounded, more aligned with your purpose. Your work transforms as well. Tasks you once approached mechanically now carry meaning. Every decision, every effort, is filtered through the lens of awareness and intention. You find yourself seeking ways to create, to nurture, to contribute. It is not ambition for its own sake, but the natural manifestation of your awakened potential. You begin to see that the inheritance is not a single treasure, but a wellspring of energy and creativity flowing through all areas of your life. Even your perception of time changes. You no longer live in constant rush, anxiously chasing the next moment. Instead, you inhabit each instant fully, savoring the richness of the present. You notice the way sunlight falls on leaves, the rhythm of raindrops on the window, the subtle expressions of people around you. Life itself feels abundant, filled with gifts you once failed to recognize. You understand that the true inheritance is awareness, the capacity to perceive, to feel, to act with presence in every moment. One afternoon, you encounter a situation that once would have provoked anger or frustration. Someone speaks harshly to you, or a project goes awry, and the familiar tension rises in your chest. But now, instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. You breathe, you observe, you respond with calm clarity. The letter's message resonates. The inheritance includes patience, discernment, and grace. You realize that the moments that once threatened to derail you are now opportunities to exercise the gifts you are claiming. As the weeks turn into months, the process of claiming your inheritance deepens. You explore parts of yourself you never knew existed, creativity that surprises you, empathy that flows naturally, courage that surprises even you. You notice how often you underestimate your own potential, how frequently self-doubt has held you back. And yet, with each small victory, each conscious choice, each act of love and presence, you reclaim more of yourself. The letter, once a shock, now serves as a guidepost. Its words echo in your mind like gentle reminders, *, you are capable. You are worthy. You are ready. You realize that these are not empty platitudes, they are truths that have always existed within you, waiting for acknowledgement. The inheritance was never truly external, it has always been a reflection of your own latent potential, waiting for recognition, courage, and engagement. One evening, you return to the park, sitting under the stars and reflecting on the journey. The quiet hum of the night feels alive, each sound and shadow a reminder of the depth and richness of life. You think of the rooms you explored, the spaces of hope, of mistakes, of possibilities, and you realize that the inheritance is more than gifts or talents. It is the awakening of consciousness itself. You have learned to inhabit your life fully, to claim each moment as sacred, to recognize the extraordinary in the ordinary. And in that stillness, you understand a profound truth: the inheritance continues to grow. It is not finite, not static. Each act of awareness, each gesture of compassion, each choice made in alignment with your true self expands the inheritance further. It flows outward, touching lives, shaping realities, weaving unseen threads of connection and meaning. You rise from the bench and walk home with quiet gratitude. The city hums around you, but you feel a sense of inner space, a calm certainty that the letter's message has transformed not just your perception of life, but your participation in it. You have stepped into the inheritance, not as a passive recipient, but as an active claimant, fully engaged with the potential, responsibility, and gifts that life offers. By the time you reach your doorstep, you understand that this is only the beginning. Life will continue to present challenges, doubts, and fears. But now you meet them with presence, wisdom, and courage. The inheritance is not a one-time event, it is a lifelong journey of awakening, engagement, and realization. And in this moment, you feel a quiet joy, a deep satisfaction, and a profound peace. The letter that once shocked you has become a symbol of transformation, a reminder that the gifts of life are always waiting for those who are willing to notice, to act, and to claim them. The inheritance is yours, fully, profoundly, and endlessly, and the journey of living it is now your purpose.